Hi, my name's Tyler Kuhar, and my scenario is called Soccer Struggle. The main question for my scenario is why does the U.S. men's national team not live up to their expectations? The reason I chose this topic is because I'm very disappointed to see them miss out on the last World Cup. So let's start off with the problem with the U.S. youth soccer programs. So, to play for your local club, you have to pay for a spot on the team. That's different from countries in Europe. In Europe, most of the clubs are free to play for because the clubs make money from their professional teams who are linked with the youth club. Another problem with youth soccer in the United States is that players who are very good but live in small towns have to commute to these big cities to play for the clubs that they have been invited to. So let's talk about the pay-to-play program in the United States for youth soccer. So the pay-to-play program is basically if you want to play on your local club team, you have to pay to have a spot on the team. But kids whose families have low income usually can't pay for these teams because they cost thousands of dollars a year. And this is becoming a big problem because kids who are very talented aren't getting the opportunities they deserve. And in countries in Europe, kids can play for free for a very good team that is supported by the professional teams in Europe. In the United States, you can play for a team that is supported by an MLS team, but you still have to pay a lot of money to be on the club. Now let's talk about the problem of trying to go pro for soccer in the United States. So, it's very hard to go pro for soccer in the United States. The reason is because it's such a big country and it's really hard to spot talent. Even if you're a great player, you still need a good coach and a scout to watch you so he could eventually contact somebody who is high up in the United States soccer program and maybe get you a spot for the tryouts or something. Overall, the U.S. has a lot of talent when it comes to soccer, but we could have more if we eliminated the factors of the pay-to-play system and kids playing other sports instead of soccer. Another factor to add into why the United States doesn't live up to their expectations is that kids at a young age aren't watching soccer. They're not interested in the Premier League or La Liga. They're not watching those. They're watching what their parents watch, like the NFL or the NBA or the MLB. They're not watching soccer. If they watched soccer as they were playing it, they would understand how to play the sport way better at such a young age. So, I think that answers my main question on why the United States does not live up to their expectations. Thank you for watching this, and I hope you learned something. Bye. So some of my research was about how the U.S. men's national team plays. And the team plays a mid-block formation where they try to win the ball starting at the midfield. But the team doesn't have any players who are standing out in that situation. Will Trapp, being a midfielder who can keep possession, does not do much else than that. If the U.S. had a player who could stand out in the midfield and make plays rather than keep possession, this would be a big impact on their play. So a cool thing I did for my scenario was I interviewed my soccer coach, John Kowalski, who has coached the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, the U.S. men's national soccer team, the U.S. men's national futsal team. He's coached at Robert Morris, and he's coached at MLS team called the Tampa Bay Mutiny. And that's just really cool to hear because he's my soccer coach and he's done so many great things, and it's just cool to have a coach like that. And so the question I asked him was, does he think that the U.S. just doesn't recruit the best talent because it's so hard to find talent in such a big country? Or does he think that they just don't have the talent to compete against these big countries that are great at soccer? And he said that they don't have the talent right now, but eventually in the future, if they use the scouting system to their advantage and they hire more scouts, then they could find these players who may not be getting the opportunities that they deserve because they are great players. There's just no scouts and they don't have the best coaches. Because if they got their opportunities, then maybe they could be put on the men's national team and we would have better results and the fans would be more happier. Another question that I asked my soccer coach is out of all the teams that he's coached, including the men's national team, what is one thing that all of them needed improving on? And he said they all needed improving on playing together. And I think that's really important because at my age, there's kids leaving and joining my club every single year. And it's really hard to create a strong connection between all of your teammates, even the ones that you just met. And I think that's important on the professional level too because there's always younger players coming in and switching out for the older players.